In today's episode of Reach, we're going to be talking about what are some of the possible signs of autism spectrum disorder. And I say possible because a lot of people with autism don't have all of the signs. That doesn't mean that they don't have autism. So whenever you start to notice any of the signs that we're going to talk about today, talk to your pediatrician. Sometimes pediatricians, even today, when we know so much more about autism spectrum than we did, say, 20 to 30 years ago, and further back, of course, we're still hearing from parents that are saying that their pediatricians are telling them to give it time. If you have concerns about some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, if your pediatrician tells you to give it time, or don't compare him or her to their sibling, or your dad did that too, get another opinion, because time is precious and early intervention can make all the difference in the world. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is responding to their name at around 12 to 15 months. Now, there are some children who develop fairly what they call normally, right? According to sort of like the steps of childhood development up until about the age of 12 months. So if you have a child who is 12 months and, imitating or saying a few words, the typical words, right? Mama, dada, and trying to make some sounds out with their mouths, then that's great. However, there are some children with autism who have that at 12 months old, but by 15 to 18 months old, those are no longer there. So if your child has exhibited that, definitely, you want to reach out, maybe not even to your pediatrician. You may want to get the consultation of a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist, or developmental pediatrician, but don't wait on that. So you want to be watching for your child to be attempting words at around 12 months of age, but also responding to their name. So if you are calling them and, like a lot of parents, think that their child has lost their hearing, so that is cause for concern. It may be nothing. It could be that there are hearing issues and that, the doctor needs to take a look inside to make sure that things are okay. But you definitely want to bring that up to your pediatrician. Not pointing to objects to not only show their own interest, but to share an interest, such as if a plane is flying overhead and you as a family is outside, little kids, they tend to point up at the plane and then look at your face to see, what do you think about that? Even before they have words to say that. So you want to be looking to see, are they doing that? Are they trying to share with you their social experiences and their experiences of the world around them? Pretend play, maybe not so much, such as pretending to feed a doll, or pretending to play with a house or toys, or all sorts of objects. Now, a lot of children with autism love trains. It is a thing. I can't explain it, but it's a thing. So if you've got a child who loves to play with trains and they're playing with the trains appropriately, awesome. But if what they are doing is basically just rolling the trains back and forth, or flipping the train over and spinning the wheels on the train, you want to bring that up to your pediatrician. Avoiding eye contact and kind of wanting to be self-directed or on their own. Now, I know a lot of people with autism who love to be in the social presence of other people. So that is certainly not one of those things that is all autism. And I know people who don't have autism who avoid eye contact, but it is one of the early signs. So you definitely want to pay attention to it. Delayed speech and language skills. So like I said before, is your child starting to come up with those beginning words around 12 months, 18 months of age? By the age of 2, they should have a nice little repertoire of words and even some phrases. So if they do not, you want to bring that up to your pediatrician. Repeating words or phrases over and over. So a lot of people refer to that as echolalia. So maybe they enjoy watching a movie or some type of program application online, and you are hearing words from that application or video over and over and over again. Sometimes it's not at appropriate times, and sometimes it actually is. So you will literally hear the words from a video that they watch, but the child is using it in an appropriate way, meaning maybe you ask them to do something and the response is, I don't want to, just like that, with the same tone and with the same inflection, the same sound as you've heard from that application that they enjoy. But so it might be an appropriate place for that phrase, but it's still worth bringing up to your pediatrician. Getting upset by minor changes. So if you tend to drive to, say, a local grocery store, and you guys kind of do that a couple times a week, but you're in the car and you pass by the grocery store because you don't have to go there, and your little one in the back seat starts to get really upset, and you have no idea why. Could be because you didn't pull into the grocery store like you normally do. Those are the type of things that you want to be mindful of. It could be a change in routine, meaning that, it's Saturday and we're not going to school today. And why not? Or it might be that normally we go to grandma's on Saturday, but we're not going today. It could be something as simple as the evening changes where dinner isn't ready at 5 and today we're not going to eat until 8. So you want to watch for those type of things and the challenges that they may get upset about when there's changes in routine. Having obsessive interests. So liking something to the degree that other things are just like either bothersome or no, I don't want that. I only want this. I only want it this way at this moment in this way. So it could be something where they always have to be engaged in particular play with one of their items, where they just cannot not have it. And when they don't have it, we have temper tantrums, or we have a person who paces, gets really upset that they don't have that beyond what would be, average for a lot of kids, especially the 2-year-olds. I think that anybody who has had children knows, sometimes they call those years the terrible twos, right? Because 2-year-olds, they like that. They kind of want to stretch their ability to see what they can get and let you know when they're upset about something. Language is also exploding during that time for typically developing kids. So you always want to keep an eye on, is my child's language developing at the rate that it should? If you do not think that it is, talk to your pediatrician. There are some incredible speech language pathologists out there, and they do evaluations. And you can certainly speak to them about the concerns that you might have when it comes to speech and language. Things like flapping hands, rocking their body, spinning in circles. So again, it's that repetitive behavior. And when you have a child who is either in school or they're getting ready to go to school, and the school is assessing for a possibility of an autism spectrum disorder in order to get an individualized education plan, one of the things that is in the criteria that they're looking for are these repetitive type of behaviors. And when did they start? Because a lot of kids, they didn't start very young. Sometimes it was when they were 2 or 3. A lot of times these type of behaviors are related to stress and anxiety and not understanding the world around them and trying to make sense of things, trying to regulate their bodies, right? So if your child is flapping their hands, chances are good they're either excited and they really don't know what to do with their hands, or they're frustrated, they're anxious, and they're using that as a coping mechanism. So be very cautious. Back in, 10 to 20 years ago, it was very common for people to say, quiet hands, quiet hands. But I think now we're a little bit wiser. So we tend to recognize that children are engaging in those activities because they need it. Their bodies need it. But it is a sign of autism. So you also want to bring that up as well. Unusual reactions to sound, smell, taste, look, and feel. Pretty much everybody that I know who has a child with autism talks about their pickiness when it comes to eating. A lot of kids may have, 3 to 4 different things that they will eat, and they will not eat beyond that. A lot of times they are filled with carbohydrates and sugars. So you need to be really careful with that, because for all, especially young children, too much sugar can really get them out of sorts. So I hope that those signs gave you some information about what to watch for. And at the Autism Society of Florida, we want to make sure that when you have a concern, you bring it up to your pediatrician. If you feel like you're not getting anywhere and your pediatrician is not responding the way that you think that they should, by all means, give us a call. Our website is autismfl.org. And we would be happy to get you connected with resources in your area. All of us on the board of the Autism Society of Florida are either people with autism or family members. So we all have a personal experience working with or being a person on the autism spectrum and are happy to help. If you have a child that is in Florida, birth to age 3, so up until 3, you call Early Steps. And it's an easy Google. You just Google Early Steps Florida. And that is where you can get free evaluations and services based upon how the evaluations come out. If your child is 3 years old or older in the state of Florida, you want to call Child Find. And again, it's an easy Google, Child Find Florida. And they will direct you on how to obtain services through the public school system once your child has reached the age of 3 or older. If you have children who are already in school and you have concerns, bring it up to the administration at your school. Many schools have what's called some schools it's called an ESE specialist. Some schools call that person a staffing specialist, but it's somebody who deals with the development of those IEPs. So you want to talk to that person and know that the law says that when a parent has a concern, you have the right to request a full psychoeducational evaluation. The school is not allowed to tell you, no, we don't think so. You have the right to request one. They have 60 days to get it done, but that 60-day clock doesn't start ticking until you sign the consent to evaluate. So just keep that in mind. I hope that this episode was helpful to you and that you got a little bit of information that will help you along your journey. If you liked it, I hope that if you're watching me on YouTube, that you will click like and the little bell there to follow us so that when more episodes come up, you can catch them. I hope that you will share it with friends, maybe when you're in the car line at school or at camp, and let others know that they can tap into some resources here as well. And remember, the connection is you.